That's right. It's another late night and time for another reach into the Just Giggle It grab bag. And tonight we're pulling out. Oh, God, no. No, no, no. The amazingly excitable Spider Man parody. Just Giggle It sketch number 4. Has it really come to this? Find out tonight.
It's come to this, another Simpsons clip show. One of my favorite names of a Simpsons episode.
Very poor choice of words, I'm now realizing.
Yes, yes. Oh boy. So Dragon, I hope that Spider-Man Far From Home was better than this.
Well, even if it isn't, it can't be. It's not going to be like Excitable Spider-Man.
Oh boy. So folks, long story short, this has been in our back pocket since way back in season 1 of the grab bag, because in season 1, of course, we were doing a formula where every episode we were taking a look at one parody and one original skit per episode. So we could have easily done Excitable Spider-Man back then, probably around the time that Avengers Affinity War was getting all the hype. But no, we decided to wait until Spidey's solo adventure, because that's what Spidey needs right now, right, Dragon?
Yep.
All right, so Dragon, I know this one makes you particularly uncomfortable, so would you like to explain to the folks why?
All right, folks, let me put it to you this way. You know, ordinarily we say a lot of nice things about the folks at Just Giggle, but you know what? We kind of pride ourselves and we tell them as it is. We do. And you know what? The reason we say so many nice things about Just Giggle and on the grab bag is the fact that, like, 9 times out of 10, they get things. You know, if I'm being honest, maybe 8.5. But let's just be fair here. Nine times out of 10. You know what? They get things right. They amaze us. They do kind of next level comedy. But you know what? Bear in mind, I got to chalk it up to the arrogance of youth, one might say. Arrogance of youth within the beginning.
The arrogance of youth.
I have a theory about some of the stuff that maybe at its core kind of steered this astray. But put simply, you know, this one, to me, this is the example of out of the ones that we've seen so far. The ones we've seen, of course, I haven't seen every Just Giggled sketch. Now there's Tiki. You know, we haven't seen every single one, but we've seen most of the catalog. But not factoring the ones we haven't seen in, this to me is probably the worst Just Giggled sketch. I'm going to say that. I know, harsh word.
Dragon, let me ask you, is it just because like they befouled the name of the spider dragon? Is it just kind of like a fanboy thing with you?
No, that's not the reason why. I mean, that is not why. And I look at that, like, I'm not going to make any illusions that either. Sometimes that factors into a thing. This is not, I swear to you, that is not the case with this one. Here's the problem. This is again, this is going to sound harsh, folks. I'm telling them as it is. And again, this is way early on. This is like the 4th sketch in Just Giggle. I think technically the 5th one they shot or something. The point being, it's really early on. And the fact of the matter is, this, the reason this one does not register with me is this is the only example in the catalog that I've ever come across with Just Giggle. This is them being very lazy. It is. This to me is just Giggle not being what we always kind of hold them up to be. This is like them not measuring up to their own standard. And bear in mind, all fairness, this is them before a real standard was kind of constructed. I mean, bear in mind, 912 and Social Network right out the gate were really strong. So I can't say like they didn't know they weren't. It was like they building from the get go, because they kind of hit the ground running, and then you have like a stumble here. And I guess my big thesis is that Spider-Man is their first parody, as far as I can tell, and I feel that's where I think they were just really figuring out their parody voice, and that's why this is just so been there, done that, and just so not what Just Giggle is known for, what we love them for, and it's really egregious. It's a blemish on the record of JGI, in my opinion.
Okay, Dragon, I think you're the more harsh critic in the room when it comes to this one. I don't think it's great by any means. In fact, it might be the worst one that we've covered, but Dragon, I do think there are a couple of redeeming qualities here, most notably Brian Wiley.
And look, again, just to show you, I think it's all about fairness here, folks. Again, while I really don't care for this one. Again, comparatively, like the gold that they usually spin. Again, this is not. Again, this isn't necessarily bad, but by comparison, it looks worse. As in, like, this thing, it's really standard. I mean, standard for JGI is embarrassing. It's egg on their face.
All right.
You know, this is like the worst thing I say about this is, well, we'll get to when we get to. I'm jumping way ahead. I'm sorry, Tiki, you were saying.
Oh well, yeah. Well, let's just jump into it, and I'll make the Brian Wiley points as we go on.
I'm just gonna hit the one bit of background I do have here. So this is directed by Yuka Kodono. Just shows you how early on this is. The dead Asian driver from from 912, and of course she's the Mickey Rooney of the JGI story. She's the one who gets tipsy one night and says, "Hey guys, I got all this equipment. Why don't we do some videos? Why don't we do some stuff?" It's like, yeah, my glass of barn. Let's put on a show. It's the Yuka Kodono. The stake in the JGI story. This is written by Brian Wiley, who of course factors into this, and Joshua Thomas. He did the editing, as he tends to do. The man can't avoid wearing a hat to save his life. The man, that'll be on his tombstone. The man wore a lot of hats. So one last thing, and we'll just jump right into it. Is this
got 1 foot on the dock and another foot on a rocky boat.
Ended up drowning because, again, too many hats, and he just fell through. Okay, so this is also the one thing of note they actually posted on the Discord page, which I recommend everybody kind of check out and kind of sign in on. Really great community there. They actually posted one of the early shooting days, because this was back in the early days of JGI when they would shoot multiple sketches. I mean, like, in one day, Tiki, and this just shows you, again, a theory as to why this may not turn out as great as some other stuff. They're shooting, this is back at the time where they're shooting multiple sketches in one day. You had Spider-Man, 912, and Socially Engaged. Essentially, the first 3 JGI sketches, not factoring in the whole social network at all. Like in one day, they shot those 3, or at least began to shot those 3. Okay. All right. And you shot it. You shot it in a day from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. I mean, that's pretty impressive. Okay, let's just dive right into it.
So we start with with some stock footage of Spider-Man climbing up a wall. And we see the amazingly excitable Spider-Man. And now for another exciting episode of Spider-Man.
So presumably this is footage from, I believe, the 70s Spider-Man, the live-action show where you have like the belt and everything, as you can kind of glean from the photo.
Okay, so let me just get into like the one thing I can really defend about this thing, which is Brian Wiley as the Scorpion.
I will. I gotta say, here's the thing. When I first watched it way back when, you had Wiley as a Scorpion. And of course, Tiki, you know me. I love the Scorpion.
You are a big Scorpion guy, way more than I am.
And that's the thing. Like in Homecoming, I was so excited. And of course, 1, it's Michael Mandow, and 2, it's the freaking Scorpion. I mean, it's just this cornucopia of riches. And that's the thing. So I love the Scorpion, especially from the animated show and everything. The Scorpion's just a really cool character, the natural predator, the spider, a lot of really cool stuff there. I will say this, even on a budget, and of course, it's like kind of I ding some of the early JGI sketches for like this and Monsters Drink being the operative examples. Monsters Drink, great sketch. Just wish the makeup was better. Because it's just Poncio with like face paint and a hula skirt on.
Mm-hmm.
Good sketch though. Anyway, so that thing, I gotta admit, on a budget though, that looks like the Scorpion, at least in the early comics, what the Scorpion looks like. So you can costume-wise, you got Wiley in the role. I mean, he's overplaying it, obviously.
Performance-wise, what I dig about it is that I feel like it's very much a send-up of the 1960s villains, like the 60s cartoon specifically.
Exactly, and that is again, I'll give you points there. Aesthetically, also like using the 70s footage and just kind of like splicing it in there and just kind of like selling it on New York. Because you got to remember, we do these really great establishing shots so that really sell you that you're in New York and not LA, because LA, of course, is the usual setting for the JGI sketches when they can help them. So they're doing aesthetically, they're setting, and like imagine this: you're watching it for the first time. It's like, okay, we're hitting the right marks here. Okay, it's on a budget, but who cares? They're getting their basics right. And again, as you said, correlates from kind of 60s animated show or kind of early Spider-Man show to kind of live action. All right, and like Gwen Stacy, played by Mal Smith, the director extraordinaire from JGI.
Like Gwen Stacy and not Mary Jane. I like that they kind of did not necessarily a deep cut, but they didn't go for the easy pickings with Mary Jane.
Yeah. So the idea is Gwen Stacy's being held hostage by Scorpion and 2 of his goons with these painted masks on their face and everything. And again, solid Gwen Stacy cast in Mal Smith. She looks the parting and good actress. And of course, there's the unrelated little shout out here. Again, this wonderful director too, of course, that did One Night Stand. That's a great one of hers. So everyone has that iconic look going on here. Then it says, Spider-Man's going to be here any moment. I'm sorry, you want to
get that Spider-Goon.
He's no match for my poisonous scorpion tail.
That's what I'm saying, Dragon. When Wiley gets into it, he really gets into it, Like that kind of redeems what happens later.
So I will look, if I'm going to read in if I'm going to read in anything into the sketch, is that maybe with the scorpion's tail and him overemphasizing the poisonous scorpion tail and having a woman hostage, I don't want to get all heady on you here, but perhaps maybe a Freudian connect for the gag that will follow. That's the most credit I'm going to be able to give this thing. That is the most credit I'm going to be able to give this thing, folks. It shows you how desperate I am.
Wow.
All right. So then Spider-Man makes his entrance, and of course says, "Didn't Mommy ever tell you it's dangerous to provoke a deadly arachnid?" So again, the setting, the period here, again, it feels like a 60s, 70s vibe. I mean, right off the bat, this is something that now we're making fun of in Spider-Verse, which is wonderful, but still in practice, I can relate this. I've worn this sort of Spider-Man costume before. You have like the crappy mask, or there's those stupid Spider-Man mask in the early, again, it speaks to kind of the little, like I don't want to ding them too much, but again, cheap costumes in the early run of JGI, where you have like the nose holes and the stupid, kind of weird, like that weird material on the mask. It's like kind of that plushy sort of, I don't know, it's weird. Point being, like, the mask isn't looking that great, and it's just, I don't know, costume's not shaping up 100%. But again, I'll give him like a gimme on that one. The point being is just it's on sticks that we kind of make fun of in Spider-Verse, like Miles Morales' like Spider-Man costume. He wears like the dime store Spider-Man costume.
Yeah.
All right, so Spider-Man, just the insect I was looking for.
It's a good thing I didn't find you. You didn't find me sooner, or else I might have.
So, folks, to communicate that a little bit.
I apologize for that noise.
In essence, folks, this is where things start to turn south for me. Everything's like, okay, I'm dialed into it.
There's no easy way to talk about what comes next, folks.
And again,
we basically have to turn into middle school boys in order to describe what comes next.
Now, look. Just to broach it, and again, hopefully, look. The fact of the matter is, folks. Again, I'm used to. Kevin Smith makes the web shooter joke all the time, so I'm used to it. I get it. That's what I'm talking about. This is where the thing gets into it here. So my problem is, so things turn kind of south for me here. Where okay, so the web shooter goes off. It hits them. Basically, we're hitting them all with silly string, and of course, I'm not knocking it for like you use silly string. Of course, that's what you would use. That's what all the Spider-Man toys way back in the day. You use the silly string attached to the web shooter. It's fine. And of course, now again, this time has not helped this joke even more so when it was first done, because of course now we have like some like Happy Timers. We're making far greater strides in silly string comedy.
And I feel like this is going to sound kind of ridiculous, but I feel like there's oh God, it's come to this, Dragon. I'm critiquing the scientific like geometry of where exactly it would squirt from. You know what I mean? It's like
basically the physics of it.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily match up. Like it doesn't feel all that realistic.
Yep. So this is the thing, folks. Again, you've seen, my problem is this gag, when I found out the sketch was this gag, where, okay, he's excitable and he's shooting the web. And it's a gag I've seen on Family Guy. I'm not saying you can't pull from similar sources, but I'm saying if you're going to do that, say something new about it, okay? And it's like, I've seen it. This to me is like the cheapest Spider-Man joke ever made. I mean, Kevin Smith, he spices it up a little bit when he kind of names drops like basically kind of hyping up when he describes his excitement over something, especially when it relates to Spider-Man, like when he's doing the Far From Home reactions, like he mimics the old kind of like shooting webs analogy. I mean, he does it, and that's fine. I'm used to it. But this is the sort of thing I've seen like Family Guy, where you have like Spider-Man in bed with Mary Jane, and of course she's got webbing on her face. That's the thing. Like, I've seen this joke so many times. And, like, the thing I keep praising JGI for is every time I tune into a video, it's like if you think they're going in an obvious direction, they dial up to 11 and they go a different way with it. This is the one time ever, as far as the ones I've seen, they didn't do that.
Yeah, no. I can't argue with either. It's like there's really not much to the sketch after that. It's just a lot of like, oh, Spider-Man, that's disgusting.
And that's the most they can really do. And again, it's kind of their
The danger here is you and your spider goo.
Brian Wiley is their only defense against this. And again, it can only do so much. Where he can sell spider goo He can say it all the live long day. But it's only gonna do so much. And basically, the criminals, they feel violated. He's blaming the Spidey sense for it, and it's And we're making some very obvious jokes. It's not the only.
Criminals are just like they're almost kind of like trying to help him. It's like, come on, guy, just calm down, just breathe.
Again, like this is as much as we can do, and we'll get. I know there's a button at the end which we'll get to, and we're almost there. So he hits. Of course, he hits Gwen in the eye, and of course that excites him even more. Marksmanship, I guess. And then she calls him Pete.
Like Peter. And this is probably the most funny bit in the whole thing. Scorpion is just like, Peter!
Yep. And at the end of the day, Spider-Man, he's exhausted. He's, they had enough.
Cigarette.
Tiki, if I had to epitomize that cigarette line is what bugs me most. I gotta be honest. Like, I don't just.
It's like, it seems like after all is said and done, Spider-Man is literally acting like they just had sex.
And it's just, I mean, just here. I don't know. Look, again, I'm going to say really harsh here, but again, I think we have enough in the bank where we can again just be again. We're going to be honest with them. It's what the fact matters. I'm watching this one, and at the end, it's the fact that it's just they're already not winning points over with me with this. This is very kind of been there, done that gag, and then you come with like a lazy, just like how do we drive the nail on the head even more obviously? Do you get it? Do you get it? It's like the aftermath. Do you get it? I'm thinking like, just JGI, you're better than that, man. Come on. Really?
Come on.
Like that's your last joke aside from, again, now it would be a subscriber tag, but again, like that's really your last joke before you try to salvage as much as you can with Joshua Thomas. So of course, I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead one last bit before that gag. Of course, Gwen Stacy says, I don't think I need your saving anymore. And that, to me, that's the bit of it that kind of taints the mythology for me a little bit. There's like, oh, man.
I'm not going to, like, that is kind of like the whole, like, you besmirch the name of the spider.
And again, I know it's for laughs. I won't judge it too harshly, but still, like that's again, if they're already not doing themselves any favors with the comedy, that's like the one bit of like, yeah, we're kind of tainting the name, the whole love of Gwen Stacy and Spider-Man. We're doing that.
Okay, Dragon, would it have been better if it was Betty Brant?
Well, I do love Betty Brant, so
I don't. Betty Brant is the traditional love interest in the '60s cartoon.
That is, look, it wouldn't have been.
I think if they had Betty Brant, I feel like it would have been at least a little bit more of an air of like, all right, this is like a fan project. You know what I mean?
Let me put it this way: it wouldn't have been any worse.
They're not fans because, like I said, I do think that Brian Wiley's Scorpion is a loving homage to like the '60s over-the-top villain delivery in that cartoon, but.
That is. And look, let me put it this way. If they had Betty Brant, it wouldn't have made it any worse, but I think if you had Betty Brant, it would have implied a J. Jonah Jameson thing, which maybe would have been like a button to the thing of like J. Jonah Jameson, like kind of spinning a headline or something about Spider-Man assaults criminals. Spider-Man sexually assaults criminals.
Oh, man. Oh, God.
Again, this of course, would never now would have crucified him. The point being, anyway, so moving on. So then we have Joshua Thomas coming at the very end here. So Joshua Thomas, it's almost as if like we need, again, this is them just realizing we don't have a lot here. And again, I would chalk all of this up to early days of the sketches. They're doing 3-in-1. It's basically, it's a quantity versus quality problem. Where again, they were doing too much in the early days. I think Spider-Man was the latest, had a quick gag. And they knew they had a quick gag. And they just, again, I'm not saying they made this like as stupidity or anything. I'm just saying they made a joke, but I feel like the joke. I'd like to think they wouldn't do this today. I'd love to think that. I mean, based on all the evidence, they wouldn't do something like this today. I can't speak.
Like we've seen them do crude humor throughout a whole sketch brilliantly with
a quiet place. Again, a better example, a Quiet Place parody.
Yeah,
far better.
So I
small.
don't think the fair thing to say is that they wouldn't do something like this today. It's just that if they were to do something like this today, they would have actually upped the ante with it.
Precisely. There, you got it right there. Yes, they would have done it far better than they had in their youth here.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So again, we have Joshua Thomas here, and he says, "That's right." I'm sorry, you want to do the Joshua Thomas button?
Well, yeah. First of all, I love how Joshua Thomas just randomly has like Dragon. Is this a character we've seen before from JT? Because it's bugging the crap out of me.
Well, I mean, there might have been some
like a southern drawl that he has here.
If anyone's thinking of a Man's World, no, I don't think it's the Man's World character, but it basically is like a Southern character for a Man's World. Wade Carrington, I believe his name is.
All right. Well,
yeah, right. Go on.
Yeah, he's just saying. Hello, everyone. I'm founding member of Just Giggle It, Joshua Thomas. And you just got done watching a 2-minute pre-ejaculation joke. Happy Labor Day, everybody.
Okay, two things. Okay, one, just him with the smoking jacket and everything does remind me of Seth MacFarlane's. No, I'm not saying it's I love Seth MacFarlane. I love Family Guy these days, but I do love Seth MacFarlane regardless. And regardless, in his early film school days, he actually ended a few sketches with him, like in the smoking jacket, introducing him or ending him like that. I don't know if that was a direct inspiration. And again, they technically, like, look, I'm not going to accuse them of theft or anything. It could just be coincidence, or again, it could be like in their youth, just kind of lifting something. Where again, some of the old Spider-Man joke. The Family Guy was the only one to make the old web shooter jokes. The point is, it's been around. So I don't know if maybe that was a direct inspiration or not. I'm just saying Seth MacFarlane did something similar in his earlier works where he had like the smoking jacket in the intro and everything. But second thing, I gotta admit that probably one of the most legitimate, like in terms of written funny jokes, Happy Labor Day is pretty funny. I gotta be honest.
Now, Dragon, what if we save this as our Labor Day special?
It would have been another way to go, but again, little Spider-Man at all. So
randomly just like, all right. Anyways, so Dragon, final thoughts. I'm running out of time.
I know. We're at the end. We're at the end.
Yeah, let's wrap this up. Final thoughts.
Okay, final thoughts for me. I'd chalk it up to, again, basically echo my earlier sentiments. I chalk it up to it's the embarrassing baby pictures of JGI. It's JGI finding its parody voice early on. I'd speculate it's kind of a quantity over quality issue that was kind of in the beginning that they've now, they're eons from that. It's again, it's not terrible, but it's compared to what a JGI sketch is comparatively, it's the worst. I mean, de facto, it's the worst. It's one we've been putting off for a long while now. We just had no excuse not to do it at this point. We're it's not their stamp. It's not their stamp of humor. It's not their stamp of quality. It's not the humor that we're gonna know them for. It's lingering on, basically the only essence of a JGI stamp here is like they're kind of lingering on like we're kind of spending time with the obvious joke, but that's like the only fingerprints I can see. The only half smudged fingerprints I can see of the JGI formula. Barely any there, and I think that kind of speaks to kind of how it is at the end of the day.
All right, take us out, Dragon.
Of course, folks, be sure to watch episode 5 of Harley Quinn the Joker vs. the Real World. That's all I'm going to say because we're on a bit of a time crunch, but that'll do it for now until the next exciting reach. Just Giggle It grab bag.
You're the danger, you and your spider goo.
Spider goo.